Well, obviously, you guys know about the JC Jackson situation. Obviously, we know that he is probably not going to re sign with the Patriots. And based on history, in my opinion, I give us about a 5% chance of bringing JC Jackson back. Almost nothing. I think it's not going to happen after what happened with Stephon Gilmore, what happened with Malcolm Butler. I think they have overwhelming confidence that they can replace any cornerback and bring in good cornerbacks. And I actually have faith that they can too, because that's the one position where they frequently bring in talented players. No matter what round they come from, even if they're undrafted, we end up getting good cornerbacks somehow, some way. It just works that way. So, let's go over everything that's going on with this situation, okay? This is kind of an old school type video for me where I'm actually really deep diving into a lot of the information, a lot of the Twitter stories coming out. Um, this is from Mike Giardi, I think that's how you say his name, said, trending this way for months now, as I reported earlier this week, execs on the ground in Indy believe Jackson's market will be robust, and I've heard anywhere from 28 to 40 million guaranteed will be on the table for him. 40 puts him in Jalen Ramsey territory, which is the goal. This is the type of contract that the Patriots cannot afford. Uh, no matter if they move contracts around, anything. I mean, really, they just don't have the cap for it at all. Coming up soon, not even close, honestly. We had a free agency last season that was really, really good. We brought in a lot of great free agency players. We re-signed a lot of folks, and that has eaten away at a lot of the cap. That has eaten away at a tremendous amount of the cap. So far, coming up this season, I think we have about 9 million in cap space. So 9 million. But J.C. Jackson's estimated market value, according to this, is 20 million next season. Um, it's just not going to work, guys. I don't think he's coming back. As much as that pains me to say, I love J.C. Jackson, but I do have confidence that they could replace him either way. Uh, and I think from a purely value standpoint, I don't think J.C. Jackson should be making as much money as Jalen Ramsey. First off, I don't think he should be making $40 million. That's just my opinion, but that's what he wants. I'm looking at the Pro Football Focus numbers now. I'm gonna just compare them here. It's not on screen, but I will tell you guys all the grades. So this is J.C. Jackson's 4 seasons of grades. He had a 69 defensive grade in 2018, a 68 overall defensive grade in 2019, 69 again in 2020, and then a 78.9 in 2021, which was last season. He obviously had a ton of interceptions across all these seasons. 3 in 2018, 6 in 2019, or better yet, 3 in 2018, 5 in 2019. Then, let's see, he had 9 in 2020 and then 8 in 2021. So he is an interception machine. He is Mr. INT. There's no denying that. Nobody is taking that away from him. He just makes interceptions happen. We know that. But let's compare him to a few players. First one I want to compare him to is Malcolm Butler, whose rookie season had a 74.4 grade. In 2015, then, after that year, he had a 73 grade. And then in 2016, his breakout year, which would be the equivalent of J.C. Jackson's season last year, where that was his breakout year, was an 83.3 overall defensive grade in 2016. So that's a solid 5 points above what J.C. Jackson's last season was at 78.9. And they didn't bring Malcolm Butler back. Malcolm Butler then had a 71.5 grade in 2017, and then we let him go in the free agency, and he went to Tennessee, and he had a 67 overall grade, 65, and then last season, most recently, he had a 74.5, which was pretty good. But basically, Malcolm Butler's rookie season was better than J.C. Jackson's rookie season. His second year was better than J.C. Jackson's second year, and then his third breakout year was better than J.C. Jackson's breakout year. So overall, Malcolm Butler's career with the Patriots was better than J.C. Jackson's career with the Patriots, based on those numbers alone. Then Stephon Gilmore is going to be my next comparison. His first year with the Patriots, he had an 83 overall grade, so his first year wasn't even really good. And it was a lot of people were complaining about Stephon Gilmore that year, actually. And he still had a better season than J.C. Jackson's breakout year that year. Then he had his 2018 year, which was a 90 overall grade. So that is 13 points above J.C. Jackson's last season. Then he had an 82.7 that following year after it, which is also really good. Still, all three of those years are better than J.C. Jackson's best season, which was last season. And then he had a 61 overall grade in 2020, which was obviously a huge drop off from the years prior. And then that's when he went to Carolina and had a 77.1, which that year with Carolina is pretty on par with how J.C. Jackson did this previous season. So already that's the three cornerbacks that the Patriots have had in the past 10 years, basically um, since what was Malcolm Butler's first season, I guess 2014, better yet. So since 2014, about 8 seasons, that's the three great cornerbacks that the Patriots have had. Malcolm Butler, Stephon Gilmore, and J.C. Jackson. Out of those three, the rankings go like this. J.C. Jackson is the worst of those three, Malcolm Butler is the middle one, and then Stephon Gilmore is the best out of the three. Based off of rankings, consistency, the only place that J.C. Jackson has the edge is in turnovers. J.C. Jackson was an absolute interception machine. Malcolm Butler was pretty low on interceptions usually, actually, averaging about 2 to 4 per season. And then Stephon Gilmore with us had, let's see, respectively, 2 his first season, 4 his second season, then 6 his third season, and then 1 in his final season. So he had a bit more interceptions than Malcolm Butler as well, but J.C. Jackson had the most interceptions out of all of them. But coverage skills, tackling, all of those things, run defense, J.C. Jackson is the worst out of the three. And actually, I would probably argue, I think both Malcolm Butler and Stephon Gilmore are far better at tackling than J.C. Jackson was. That was one of J.C. Jackson's biggest downfalls, was just the tackling and the run defense was non-existent. Malcolm Butler, as you guys know, is pretty scrappy. That was actually his nickname, I believe. And he was able to get in there and kind of act like a safety, be really good at tackling. Stephon Gilmore also, even though he's a more prototypical corner, just tall, lanky, really good in coverage, he still could lay a hit stick on people. I remember him doing that a few times. And his tackling grade with the Patriots was 80, as I just got a Facebook notification, 78, then 55. So it kind of dropped off. But for the most part, he had really good tackling seasons usually, a lot of those seasons. So the whole point of this video, guys, is J.C. Jackson, based on the fact that we let those two players that are, in my opinion, had better careers with the Patriots, I think that J.C. Jackson is going to walk, because I don't know why they would sign J.C. Jackson after letting Stephon Gilmore and Malcolm Butler walk. So I think they're going to follow suit with what they've done in the past and go ahead and let J.C. Jackson walk. And I have no doubt that they're going to find replacements. The Patriots are constantly bringing in very, very talented corners. That's the one thing they're absolutely great at, is drafting cornerbacks or even picking up cornerbacks and just them playing great. And when I look back to when, the earlier years of the Patriots, that was kind of a struggle before, but in the recent 10 years or so, that hasn't been as big of a problem. I remember when Logan Ryan was on the other side of Malcolm Butler, and that was sort of a problem at times. Also, the cornerbacks on the other side of J.C. Jackson this previous season had been a problem at times. So there is some periods of times where there's a couple of years. I remember specifically 2016 and 2017 with Logan Ryan, it was a bit of a struggle at times. Malcolm Butler had his side pretty locked down, but he would give up some passes here and there as well. Nothing like Stephon Gilmore that would absolutely, obviously, just completely clamp down on the entire side of the field he was on. But Malcolm Butler wasn't quite that good, but he was pretty good, especially that 2016 season. I have no doubt they're going to find cornerback replacement. And also, we forget that Jonathan Jones wasn't playing last season. He's a really good cornerback as well. More of a slot guy, but still really talented. He tweeted on March 1st, actually, "I'm back in that mode, Savage season." So I think he's ready to come off his injury and have a great season with the Patriots. We still have him. We actually re-signed him a couple of years ago. I think things are going to be okay. I do see them picking up either a free agent, cheaper free agent cornerback, or drafting one in the earlier rounds, which tends to not go so well. But they'll probably pick up a guy in the later rounds, or good and undrafted guy, and that might pan out pretty well. Historically, that proves to be really good for the Patriots, and historically, they're going to be okay. I think, in the cornerback position. It's not a worry for me. It is a bummer to lose J.C. Jackson. If I had my way and there was no salary cap, we would have Stephon Gilmore on one side and J.C. Jackson on the other with Jonathan Jones in the slot. That is obviously like a dream trio at the cornerback position, but salary cap exists. You know, there's more to a team than just cornerbacks, and you can't afford to have that many stars at one position when you have to split it between every single position on a football team and still have cap space. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know if you agree, guys, that we're probably going to be okay and that we're probably going to lose J.C. Jackson and that he might be a little bit overrated. I'm not just saying that because he's leaving. I always kind of knew he wasn't a lockdown cornerback, although he did show some promise in coverage this most previous season. It still wasn't as good as those great Malcolm Butler and Stephon Gilmore years, in my opinion. He's a really, really good cornerback, and whatever team gets him probably is going to get a really, really good cornerback, but I think they're going to have to overpay to bring him in. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next video.